Chapter 1. The Neuroscience of Self-Sabotage. Understanding the neuroscience of self-sabotage brings to light how deeply ingrained this behavior can be in our everyday lives. Our brains are naturally wired with certain default settings that, if left unchecked, can lead us into cycles of negative behaviors and actions that undermine our true potential. Often, these tendencies reside in primitive parts of the brain, steering us impulsively toward actions that satisfy immediate desires rather than contributing to long-term goals. This chapter delves into the surprising ways in which our neurological makeup can guide us toward or away from success, depending on how well we understand and manage it. By the end of this chapter, readers will not only have a clearer understanding of the inner workings of their minds, but also tangible strategies for overcoming the inclination toward self-sabotage, enabling a path forward to achieving their aspirations. How your brain holds you back. The brain is often the source of self-sabotage, originating in two critical areas of the brain, the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. These areas of the brain influence our implicit behaviors and decision-making processes, and can often lead us down paths of self-defeat if not properly balanced. The limbic system. The limbic system is a primal part of the brain associated with emotion and instinct. This system has a significant influence on our reactions to stimuli. Often described as the emotional brain, it includes structures like the amygdala, which governs fear and pleasure responses. When the limbic system dominates, our actions can become impulsive, driven by the need for immediate gratification or survival rather than long-term gain. This impulsivity can manifest as procrastination, avoidance, or other behaviors that ultimately hinder personal growth. The prefrontal cortex skills, such as rational thinking, planning, and decision-making, are all controlled by the prefrontal cortex. It enables us to weigh options, consider consequences, and act in ways aligned with our long-term interests. This area of the brain is what allows humans to override instinctive impulses in favor of thoughtful and deliberate action. However, engaging the prefrontal cortex requires conscious effort. Unlike the automatic responses generated by the limbic system, activating the prefrontal cortex involves intentional engagement with tasks and decisions. It is the part of the brain that must be kicked into gear, requiring a mindful shift from reactive to proactive states. Spencer, 2023. How these systems cause imbalance and lead to self-sabotage. The potential for imbalance between these two regions of the brain sets the stage for self-sabotage. When the limbic system's emotional outbursts overshadow the logical reasoning of the prefrontal cortex, we find ourselves caught in cycles of self-defeating actions. This imbalance manifests in resistance to change, even when it is clearly beneficial. For instance, the fear response governed by the limbic system can create irrational anxieties about pursuing new opportunities, while the desire for immediate comfort may lead to chronic procrastination. Action Step. Daily 5-minute mental declutter exercise. Self-sabotage acts as a formidable roadblock to personal growth. To counteract this effectively, integrating practical exercises into daily routines can lead to positive change. One such exercise, rooted in mindfulness, is the mental declutter routine that focuses on increasing awareness of negative thought patterns. Begin by dedicating just 5 minutes each day to this exercise, which involves a mindful observation of your thoughts. This isn't about controlling or changing them immediately, but rather about noticing and identifying them. Imagine standing by a river, watching leaves floating by, each leaf representing a thought. Your role here is simply to watch, not to pick them up. By doing so, you start recognizing patterns of negativity or self-doubt that frequently surface in your mind. Once these intrusive thoughts are identified, the next step is to label them. Is it anxiety whispering tales of failure? Or perhaps doubt questioning your capability? Labeling emotions and thoughts reduces their inherent power. It's akin to naming a shadow in a dark room. Suddenly, what seemed ominous becomes manageable. Regular practice of this step at a specific time each day contributes significantly to reducing the grip these thoughts have over your emotional responses and behaviors. Benefits. As you continue this exercise, you'll likely notice an improvement in your cognitive flexibility. This form of mental agility allows you to switch perspectives more readily and respond to situations with greater intentionality. For example, when faced with potential challenges at work, instead of succumbing to habitual feelings of inadequacy, you might find yourself approaching these events with a problem-solving mindset.